So that's us for the Clorpach shipwreck. I might see you again in Glencoe later in this video, but if not, I'll catch you in the next one. Location number 2, we've come to the falls at the River Coe in Glencoe, and we've got some nice light on the mountains at the moment, so we're going to get along to the waterfall and see if we can grab a couple of images there before we move on to another location. So let's go. So we're heading to the Falls of Coe, which is just somewhere around about here. I'm still here with Simon, and he's never seen this location before, so I'm just introducing him to a few of the great spots of Glencoe. We're hoping that we've got this to ourselves so that we can make the most of this amazing light that we have on the mountains here and over there. The sun is behind me to my right, so I'm hoping that the sun's going to clear the mountain beside me, and it looks like it is, and it's going to start picking out the details in this part of the ridge. It's looking promising. Okay, this is my first composition that's probably something like that. I've focused here on the near waterfall, and it's probably going to be a square crop, I think. So we've got this beautiful light here on the Anarchiach Ridge in the background, and then there's not an awful lot going on in the sky, but yeah, it's a nice square crop, I think. Let me talk you through this composition. I've got a vertical crop set up here, which is essentially going from the base of the fall here up to the end of the Anarchiach Ridge, where it's just catching the light, and kind of this kind of shape here. So it's going to be vertical. I'll probably have to crop out, there's a road sign there, I'll probably have to crop that out. But I quite like that as a composition. It is. Normally I shoot here horizontally, but I think I quite like that. That's caught my eye today, so I'm going with that. I've also taken a vertical here where I've got this area here, and again looks quite dramatic. Unfortunately we've lost the light on the ridge, but we had some light there earlier, and that was kind of giving an interesting background. Right, here's another shot. Basically what I've done is I've zoomed in on these rocks and that little fall there, and with that pretty much front and centre. So it's a long exposure, the water trail coming round the rocks, and the rocks hopefully pin sharp. That's the theory anyway. And what I'm doing is I've focused on the boulders, and I'm adjusting the shutter speed because I don't really want it to be too milky. You know, I want it to retain some of the detail in the water. So I've set a shutter speed of 1/30th of a second, which I'm hoping will be enough to freeze the little droplets of water in the river. And then I'm adjusting the aperture to get the correct exposure. Okay, I've found a slightly different angle. Normally I shoot the waterfalls from down this side, but I found that if you come up over the top, there's a little path brings you down onto this ledge here, and that gives you a slightly different view of the falls. It also has the advantage, it means that you're kind of turning left, you're aiming the camera more that way, which means you avoid the main A82 road, which is there. So I'm shooting in this general direction now, and oh well, look, we're starting to get just a little hint of light on the ridge. So if that can continue down onto these mountains, we might be about to get some nice light, which would be good. I'm not really sure that little patch of light is going to come to much, but it's just a waiting game now. I do love the fact that this is quite dark and moody looking, but we could do with just a little patch of light here and there to kind of break up that background a little bit, make it a wee bit more interesting. Right, I've changed orientation slightly. I've gone for a vertical crop. As you can see here in the back of the camera, I've still got the falls kind of centred down, but I've made more of the sky. Yeah, I've made more of the sky because I'm hoping that this little patch of light here is going to work its way down, and if that happens, then that should illuminate this part of the frame just above the water. It's just starting here, you can just make it out, it's starting to work its way down. So I'm hoping that that continues to the bottom, maybe illuminates round about here, and makes for a slightly more interesting shot. I'm also trying to underexpose slightly because I want to retain the details in those clouds, because the clouds are actually quite photogenic at the moment as well, so I'm hoping that I can retain some of the detail in the clouds. Right, hopefully you can make that out, but we've got just a little hint of light here on the ridge, which I'm hoping is going to expand and work its way down. little patch of light here as well, picking out the snow on the ridge. But I'm hoping that that will grow in size and help light up the image. Here we are at the Buccellette of Moor. The difference today from my previous visits is it's actually almost sunset, so we're hoping that we might get some interesting light in the clouds behind the mountain and also some nice reflections in the waterfall. So I think I've only ever shot sunset here once before, so this is something new for me. Don't know if you can see that, but Simon's being particularly adventurous. He's down in amongst the water. I'm quite happy to keep my feet dry. I've taken a three image panorama where I've effectively shot from here. So this general direction, just including these lower falls, and then about here, and then about here, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to stitch them together in post-processing. What we're getting now is we're getting some lovely colours in the clouds in the background now, so I'm trying to work with them and also include the waterfalls. It'd be particularly nice if we had some direct sunlight on the mountain, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. Right, I've pretty much settled on this composition now. It's just a matter of waiting to see if the light improves. As you can see, it's a vertical crop, around about 20 millimeters on the 16 to 35, so it's not as wide as it will go, but it's fairly wide. And I'm just hoping that that little bit of colour that we've got above the mountain gets a bit more saturated and a bit more widespread. As you can see, I've got the compositions, basically the river coming in at the top here, tumbling over the falls, and then sweeping away out of the bottom of the frame. The mountain's pretty much on one of the thirds if you were to go by the rule of thirds, which I tend not to. And because the sky's darkening now, it's actually allowing me to get it all in one exposure, so I'm not really having to bracket anymore. I'm shooting at 1/4 of a second at f16, 100 ISO, and that is it's not burning out anymore, and it's allowing me to get the whole thing in one exposure, which makes life easier when it comes to post-processing. So that's us for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to give us a little thumbs up if you did. Huge thank you to Simon for coming out. I'll leave a link to his channel. Pop along, give that a like as well. You'll be able to see his version of all the photographs that we've taken today. If his is better, don't mention it.
I don't feel like a fraud.
No, I'm pretty sure his will be better. So just don't mention it on this channel. You can mention it on his, but don't mention it on mine. Yeah, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, bye.
Bye for now.